Hey everyone, we'll be starting momentarily. I'm getting everything set up, so please bear with me. All right, I can get rid of that and that. It's all done. This is all good. Connection seems fine. Sounds to be picked up. I think we're good to go. So, hi everyone. Welcome to another stream of Apollo Justice Trilogy Dual Destinies. Today, we are going to be continuing where we were last time, and we are going back to court after having found out how to... Well, after having found out, after investigating the crime scene, that we have two witnesses that are going to be standing on the stand. The first is the director, the captain of the space center, who is the guy that was very dramatic and is the person that leads everything. He wears a captain's coat for some reason, like he's from the military, but he's not, as far as I'm aware. So there's that guy, and then we've also got a second witness who may or may not come in this trial today, which is apparently Blackwell's sister. So, yeah, that's great. They're kind of similar, except, you know, Blackwell is more, I'm gonna kill you, I'm a samurai, and she's more, I'm from the future, I make robots. Yeah, they're both very tense. I don't know, aggressive, I guess would be the right word to describe them. But yes, we got that, so we're going to see what we can get out of them and see what we can learn in this trial today. We won't have Apollo, so will we be able to complete the trial and win? Yes. We don't need Apollo. If anything, it might help. But yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen and go from there. I am not as tired as I was last time I did this stream, or did this game, so I will hopefully be more active with the voices. I don't know. But without further ado, let us get into this game and see what we can get up to. And hello, Raphotron. It's in 2 parts. Okay. Blackwell is openly edgy, while Aura is more rude. Yeah. That's actually a good description. Health warning. Do not play Phoenix Wright games. They're bad for your health. Right, showing up on there. Refresh this. Is it me or is the game... Oh, that's why the game's quiet. Because I have it turned down. Alright. Seems as though everything's fine. Everything's been picked up, everything's showing, so we can just go. I gotta remember to put on the alternate outfits when we go on to the investigation again. December 20th, 10:15 a.m. Courtroom number 5. Isn't that the one that exploded? No, I guess that was a different one. Day 2. Court is now in session. All rise. Oh. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something. Don't play this game, or Reggie Apollo will appear in your room tonight.
Objection!
Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh, yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tonate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tonate. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Question mark? Do you have any understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time. Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he technically seen more than his fair share of colourful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. The prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. You didn't even need to look further investigation. You could literally see it as soon as you walked in. I don't know how you could have missed it. Surprisingly, it would appear Justice Donner's argument was correct. So that means that the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There are two people who claim to be on the first on the scene. We can truly trust their statements. Let's see. The two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? I think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police. It's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow killed my witness. Killed Detective Arm. Definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly. Other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Albright said that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that there was a third person in the lounge and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
To make such ridiculous claims in the courtroom takes a bold man or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you got your dotty already? Old man. I just want to check something. He's not even in here. By that logic, you're old, because you're 28. Why would that ever not be the main focus? It's literally what the trial is for. Yeah.
Objection!
We'll see who's the dullard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person? The judge doesn't have a canon age. No, he's never had one. I know that. I was looking for Phoenix's. I think he's like the same age as him. I see my sister's been running her mouth. That's right. Almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mysterious person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still there. Indeed, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of the one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Very well. Bailiff, bring in the witness to the stand. Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have! Of course you have! I am Yuri Cosmos! Director of this Cosmos Space Center, which of course was named after me, Yuri Cosmos! Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Like he's all geared up to do some ragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and immediately cuts it off. Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Ha! I see this fine young lad has proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell just now sounded more like to me he was poking fun at the director. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Witness testimony. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in there from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck. I see. So in your testimony you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge. And just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I saw is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action taken in the face of such terrifying explosions, would you say? To have my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Risking my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? Sounds like the directors really care about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had to peek from far away. Hey, Sean. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. His little hair thing bounced. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm gonna have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. What I saw. Maya is 27 and Pearls is 17. Isn't that kind of a huge gap, though? I'm pretty sure Maya was 18 in the original trilogy, and Phoenix was only like 21, 23. I'd have to check. Yeah, he was 21 when in the first game, from what it reads. Here we go. This might help. Phoenix Wright is 21 in Memories, 26 in Trial Tribulations, 33 in Apollo Justice, 34 in Dual Destinies. Okay. Alright then. I Okay.
Hold it!
Where were you coming from?
The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then that we heard the Starbuck and Terran and hurried to the 3rd floor lounge. On my galactic scooter here, of course.
Why do you keep calling it galactic? Is that something to do with space?
Of course, it's specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships, which do not exist.
I see. Then I take it works in 0G too?
Sadly, no, with the current state of technology, that is. I'm afraid it would just float about and be galactically useless.
Well, that's a galactic bummer.
I see, so you rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-aged pogo stick. So, and when you got to the scene, what did you see?
I made 26 and Tuesday 16. Okay. The control room peaked in there.
Hold it!
Let's see. According to the diagram, you didn't have to go through the control room to get to the boarding lounge 1. It looks like you could have gone through from there to the southern corridor as well.
Yes, but in her haste, Detective Arm rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow from behind her.
I see.
So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door and...
Hold it!
So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing?
Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person standing motionless. Detective defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his intruder. What other explanation is there?
Ugh, so close, but without evidence I can't prove that person's the third party.
I don't relish in this, and...
Hold it!
Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
No, not clearly. The light they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was.
So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, isn't that correct?
I would like to believe that Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Miss Terran were there at the time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure disappeared and vanished is because it was the defendant. But when the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and fainted unconsciousness.
Hold it!
That seems kind of stupid. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the screen or the scene?
Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time.
But what escape route would this person have used?
The direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. I know I said Miss Terran, it's whatever. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
All things are possible, right, Dodo? The real question is, do you have any proof?
Well...
If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we like. An inmate who uses to be an university professor and a lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon.
As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for whatever we've done. Do it.
But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists?
He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right, I don't have any proof yet. Still. The southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question?
Yes?
Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
Ha ha ha! There's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arm saw the figure and raised her gun. Being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her.
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun and shoot as soon as she saw the figure? Again, prosecutors can say anything they want and take it as fact, but the defense always needs evidence for it to be a fact. Yeah, everyone hates defenders, lawyers. What? Anyway,
I imagine her instincts as a detective told her right away they were the killer.
I don't know about that. Were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. Was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure.
This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important.
Please add it to your testimony.
2 warning shots at the figure. I don't think we have anything yet, but I'll press first. And neither of these shots hit the culprit?
That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose.
Huh. But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. So Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, did she? That's the first time that info has come out. I wonder if I can find any inconsistencies. What if she didn't miss? What if one of her shots did hit and it hit the oxygen tank, which caused it to explode? Because that would be the only way to explain how it exploded in the first place, because he didn't get thrown down. I might be jumping ahead with my thought processes there, but that's the only way that it makes sense.
Objection!
Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words? Words that someday will be written down in history books?
Somehow, I don't think those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand your thought process? Sometimes you're so weird and vague, I don't understand what you're saying. Speak clearly, boy.
I say.
You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Fortunately for you, the witness's words are true. I confirm that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to?
You should know the answer to that already.
I should?
during the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. Yeah, I got it. I don't need to be Phoenix. I just need to be me. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detective gun.
Wait a minute. I want to check something. Oh my god, it's the same bullet. They just scaled up the size of it to make it look like it's from a bigger gun. They didn't even draw a different bullets thing. They just made it bigger. I mean, it saves time. Honestly, that's in character for the judge to be completely baffled by everything. Yeah, yeah. What? Oxygen tank updated. The victim's oxygen tank was struck by a bullet.
The rifling marks also match up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun.
The bullet found in the victim's oxygen tank was fired from the... Added to the court record.
Rifling marks. They're like a gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct?
Yes, Judge. We've been over this multiple times. How do you still not... Ugh! I mean, I guess he's getting it, but this is like 7 games later or whatever.
And examining the rifling marks on a bullet and can tell us the gun it was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way to the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. Evidence confirmed the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots.
My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. Like the wind. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. Oh, it was made from a bullet found with 38, and he said 35.
Very good. Now we know the fate of both the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all of your questions?
Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, because if it exploded, the shrapnel would have gone through Clay's body. And yet there's no evidence of that. He would have to have been on his front in order for that to happen. So then the tank would hit the thing above him. No. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. But that doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Probably the other bullet.
Oh. Very well. But it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright.
The judge canonically forgets his verdict the next day. Yeah. You can tell. It's the same bullet nearly. Like, they put more detail in it because they add a line and then they change it slightly so then it's slightly different. But why is it gold anyway?
Take that!
And what is this metal pellet supposed to be?
Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor.
You found it where?
In a floor gutter on the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than the one of Detective Arm's 38 calibers.
Then that means...
Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. Grr. Jelly bean. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. In return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down to Director Cosmos?
Ha ha ha! It looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you are absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. What's this now? Why didn't you say that from the start?
We would have not had to go through all this.
What? You never breathed a word of this to me before. Ha ha ha! Well, all great men have a secret or two, don't you know?
Yes, you're also withholding evidence from the court, and you can go to prison for that. Again.
Foolish old geezer.
So Director Cosmos really had been hiding the presence of a third person all along? Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw.
You may be a very great man, but in the courtrooms you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please, give an accurate testimony, or I will hit you with my gavel. I think I've changed his voice slightly by accident.
What I really saw at the scene...
What I really saw was... Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room, and Terror on the floor. We were still in the control room of the east when the figure fired at us.
Given that there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered, does this mean that the person who fired the shots has to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos discovered this person, they escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are tricky lot. Mishandle one and it is you who is cut down.
Huh?
Your reasoning could apply a space boy with the killer as well. Think about it. After the scene discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm could have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by the police. Nor has a gun been found near the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
I recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility.
No, it's not. You're the one that brought it forth. Shut up. You check the chute and then we'll wait for that, okay?
And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence.
What evidence?
Why the detonator switch was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all tells us he is the culprit.
Dude, you literally just said that he threw the gun down the chute. Why would he not also throw the detonator down there?
Oh, he was in a panic, so he must have just kept it. No!
Ah! I did forget about that.
Look your boldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine.
Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us, just like that.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet, the mysterious figure shot, where did it hit exactly? It hit me. So that doesn't mean you're a ghost? Oh my god. Zoinks! I was wondering when you realized it, your boldness.
Oh, it's his medallion. I was always wondering, like, why did one look different from the other?
Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can pass through walls.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman.
Your boldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure?
In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos?
He's bulletproof.
Haha, I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor. Hereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What? That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh, wow. Look at that. There's one extra Gyaxa star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It actually does kind of look like a star. It's beginning to really feel like the cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? Because I wanted to make a grand entrance. A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. Why is he doing Evangelion pose? I can't remember his name. The evil father. You know what I mean? It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know. It sounds kind of fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. How about we examine the evidence first that he just gave us? You know, get to see what kind of caliber he was shot with. You know who I'm on about? That's good. At least someone does. I haven't seen the anime, but I know about that. I just noticed his other star like has a smiley face. It's like the stars from like Super Mario or something. 1 second. Ugh. Sorry about that. I've got like I had something on my face and I couldn't get it.
Hold it!
We already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new information? Well, let's see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hat 1 miracle.
Hold it!
We already know about that too. Tell us something about related to this incident. I see. You want to know about incidents. Well, then let me tell you about the many incidents that have made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I'll tell you all about the upbringing of this great man.
Hold it!
You've told us all about that already as well. What we need to now is your testimony. Huh? Did I really already tell you all my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked in through the control room door and... Also, I keep thinking, because you said it, Sean, I keep thinking to the drama VTubers with their... Not VTubers, just YouTubers that make those, like video thumbnails. I keep imagining him doing the point back going, oh! Did you see it? Big red circle with an arrow pointing to it, that kind of thing.
Hold it!
But it was so dark you couldn't see the figure's face, isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat 1 launch 7 years ago, it is about that Hat 1 miracle again. You can sod off and tell it to a stray man. It actually put sod off. That's what gave it the M rating. Okay. I gotta give the Rise that one. That one was good. The Nintendo Ninjas guy. Excellent idea. No wonder why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness. So they shall, but first your testimony. What happened next?
Hold it!
So in other words, you were fired at while you were at the control room door.
That is correct.
There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right?
Yes, it was a miracle. A better miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet the figure fired hit me while I was in the control room. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor.
In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot by someone with a 10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his medal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm a king of all the cosmos. I mean, you're not wrong. A lot of your stuff comes down to luck, Phoenix.
Hold it!
You already heard about all that part. Don't you have any new information? Let me see. Wait, did I already do this? Did I go back and just not realize it?
Hold it!
Upbringing. Told us that already. I didn't realize there was only 3 parts to this. Did I already do the third one? I think I did, otherwise we wouldn't have gone back to the start. But I'll do it again just in case. We'll find out. Wait, right, okay, so we were. Rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Is it this I need to look at? Okay, so... boarding lounge, middle room... Yeah. Also, this is wrong. Wait a minute, this is different. Why is this different to the actual stuff we see? Because when we see the one where they bring up when you do question someone, they show this thing here further over here, and then they show like the grey thing here. And when you go in there, you see that it's over here, not here. This is wrong. I wonder if I have to present this one then.
Objection!
So I was trying, because I knew that it was wrong because the bullet was on the opposite side of the room. So why would they shoot back there and then to the front? Anyway, Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this court a glorious lie.
A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history?
You literally did it a few moments ago. Yes. My accusation is based on the position of the people of who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing by the middle of the boarding lounge. Yeah, you can see here, they've moved it over. I guess they just simplified it for the brochure or whatever. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh! It ricocheted so far that it landed over there, okay? This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you're being shot at? Ah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. The witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his medal.
Oh my god.
Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found in the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency?
Of course.
I didn't think so. What?
Oh, great Director Cosmos.
Why are you invoking him like a great spirit or something?
Yes, is there something you'd like for me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that right? Is that not right?
Ah! What are you getting at?
Use your own brain. Your head must have been some use other than housing that bird's nest.
Bird's nest? Oh, after my voice there. What is that? Why does everyone pick up my hair?
Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and it was why the bullet was found in the south.
That makes some sense, actually.
Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution.
Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay, Obi-Wan. Or no, Han Solo.
How about it, Director? Don't tell the truth this time.
Yikes! His handcuffs!
You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man.
All right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away.
You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos,
Was looking into the room from the southern door. I just wanted to make it dramatic by saying I came from the control room, even though that makes no sense.
What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far.
and now you have lost the possibility that a third person was in the room.
I have? How?
The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through here. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was Directive Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would have been no escape for the third person had there been one.
My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. I'm pretty sure this guy would be thrown out the court for this. Yeah, he would. Or at least he would be put as a... What is it called? An untrusty witness or something? Not aggressive witness. I know there's like a term for like ones that are outwardly hostile to people that ask them questions. This is more of just a guy that just continually lies in the stand.
Order in the court. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie?
Discredited. That might be the one, yeah.
You are covering for the defendant, isn't that right?
Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I had said it was the eastern corridor room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. All I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant or just making himself look better?
It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense argument that the possibility of a third person has crumbled.
No.
It's over.
Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. I'm about to get a contact from the spirit realm again. Think, Phoenix. Think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would have been the third person.
The defendant is only the one who could have killed the victim and shot that director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict. You will not, because you are not the jury, and we have already said that you have probably started using that now.
Objection!
You should be. Please wait, Your Honor. There is one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. I've completely forgotten that you're used to doing this because you've been gone for so long.
There's one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them.
Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge?
I wonder if it's going to do a curveball, and it was Clay Terran that left. I will do... My gut is telling me Clay, but it could be one of these two as well. I'll do Clay first.
Take that!
Just, you know... Just how did that person escape from the scene of the crime? Somehow.
Fishing for an answer, are we? Well, congratulations on catching this prize penalty.
Please let me try again, Your Honor.
Very well, but let's have no more of your fishy answers, Mr. Wright.
There is one and only one person who could escape from the scene, and that person could have blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do the entire thing again.
It was Juniper! She was always there!
Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here?
Of all the people who were at the scene, and only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all.
But that means...
Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos.
Ah!
What? What? Even Athena's surprised.
Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail.
I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots.
Ah! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side!
Captain Wright, it's the direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot.
Warning shots fired on the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Or from.
Cosmos, you have entirely a lie in this court once again.
I've been hit. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called for reinforcements.
There's the Cosmos Control Center requesting permission to ask to return to reality.
But my ship was not to go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears the scars. If Director Cosmos is the third person or a Blackwell Soul, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Third Cosmos with a gun, and in return the detective fired with warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos?
Aha, it looks like you've just ousted my miraculous tale of survival.
We literally just had this scene. You don't need to have a flashback.
You're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us.
Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned around and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is that of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one in the lounge.
Brace for further impact.
Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you are the only one in the lounge. The bullet, probably.
Take that!
The .38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos's medal. If we have that ricochet mark on the middle analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. Which we should have done anyway, but, you know. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we've been looking for.
Ah! It's the bridge is destroyed, losing altitude, all hands abandon ship!
If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? If it was the 10 caliber bullet, in other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director?
No, you've got it all wrong! What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle, I'm not going down yet!
Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want this history books to say that a great man was a great liar, then accurately accept your fate and tell the truth.
Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? But the cosmos revolves around me!
He's still spinning.
Someone get me off this thing!
Order in court. Will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Oh, he doesn't look too good. Oh, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark on the metal. It was made by a .38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness?
No, you've got it all wrong!
Oh God, I feel sick.
This is just a misunderstanding.
Is he going to start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Fade to black. Oh, okay. That's a weird place to put a continued in. That was very short. Like, it's not even been an hour. We've got like 2 minutes. Well, on to the next one then, I guess. Director Cosmos, a new possibility is presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were the third person.
Forgive me. I'm sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question to ask you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to walk your way out of this.
Fine, I'll tell the truth. It's just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevators and all the way round to the boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second at the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim?
Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness.
Hold it!
Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
Huh. That's actually an excellent point. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck, and I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. We can go. I'd rather have this have a full 2 hours than just 1 hour. That's too short for me. And the only reason why I would do a 1 hour stream is if, like, I wasn't feeling too good or something came up. You know, there are very few times when I've done that. Well, it makes some sense. If he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck, still, a lie's a lie, Athena. Which means he's guilty. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof?
Ah, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that the person she saw... Oh, that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct?
Yes, and?
Well, I was on the 3rd floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you'd like. They'll corroborate me. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I can confirm that he was an alibi for the time specified.
So, you're claiming that Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m.? And that you arrived at the lounge after that?
Yes, I believe the person I saw is the same person as that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. I couldn't really see that face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an Earthling.
As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. But then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please.
Whee! What I really mean is, I just had a thought. It would be kind of funny is if when the things come in, when it says witness testimony or something, he spins, because it like the effect of the title screen or the words make him spin.
As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hit to avoid getting shot. But when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and well, the launch pad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer.
At least this section ends on a massive clinger. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's good. So you were shot by the killer as well, and then they disappeared?
Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Oh, I slather it with oil every day to keep it in shape. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. Now I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his medal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran and his killer, the culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but he actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was being shot at, but when I peeked back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence!
A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as a great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself, even if those around him don't understand.
Well, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly?
Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly faded on consciousness. That would certainly take all of the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit.
Speak like, huh? What are you talking about, Ruffatron? I don't know what you're talking about. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
Wasn't exactly helpful.
I'm prepared to accept your surrender, right, Dono?
I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you just let me help? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us. Huh. This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. Well, actually, Mr. Wright, as it was proved in a previous case, it doesn't always mean that they're lying. It just means that they might be unintentionally misrepresenting the facts as he saw them. As in case the crazy yokai woman who was like, everything is a yokai. Wait a minute, that's just a ceiling light. And that's just a statue. And that's just a chair. That'd be great, Athena. See what you can do to him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me.
Your heart is mine.
Rips it out. Like a Mortal Kombat character. As I tried to enter the lounge, no emotions. Whoa! The true killer inside fired a gun at me. I tried to avoid getting shot. But when I've tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door. And well, the Launchpad 1 door. And the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Persona 6 confirmed Athena Sykes. That would be cool, to be honest. And she kind of fits those kind of designs, too. Sometimes, not all the time. I think the first one we should press on is this, because I want to know why he's sad at this point.
Got it!
When we view your emotions alongside your testimony, we find the unexpected emotion. Wait a minute. There really isn't anything strange here. I don't know, but I think maybe we make a mistake, Mr. Wright. I think maybe you're right. Let's take another look. Must be an unexpected emotion here somewhere. Okay, fine. I guess it's the door one then.
Got it!
Why are you sad? I would say more why he angry. I mean, I can understand the anger because you're being shot at, and it's like this dumb butt is shooting at me. I'm gonna kill him. You know. I can understand that, but I don't understand the sadness because it's like I'm being shot at. It's like, no, you wouldn't be sad about that. You'd be surprised and traumatized. That doesn't mean you're sad. But I guess they're kind of generalizing it because they don't have a traumatized option. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door.
The great Yuri Cosmos afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
I'm most certainly not. Director Cosmos, there's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Ugh. Gah! Wow, he's speechless. Looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more emotion that's odd with this testimony. Go get him. Okay, back to the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. Okay, let's try the angle one. Yeah, this one is normal. I was going to do the third one, like...
Got it.
Okay, so it's none of them. Wait. Well, there's only two places else it could be.
Got it.
I'm not actually sure what it wants me to do, because maybe it's because there's one way it's like the lack of emotional response.
Got it.
Okay, let's go back to the previous one.
Got it.
Nope.
Got it.
I was doing all three because I'm not losing anything for doing it, so maybe I'll get like a unique thing. Yeah, imagine if like Athena's just like, I know, boss, I like you and everything, but can you like stop just pressing everything and find the specific point? You're kind of just making me stop and having to look at everything.
Got it.
Oh, there you go. I guess it was because there was no, like, emotional response. You must have thought it was very strange for the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. And yet at the time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went, isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launchpad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. And as for the southern door, I was standing right here. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check for Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terrans, yes? Or check on. What if the culprit took the opportunity to slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it, as you recall, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. I don't know why. My mind read that by a bear for some reason, and there's just nothing there that says that. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? I'll just input those two pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Athena, as a lawyer, we need to cover all our bases. Now start pressing random emotions. Presto change all. Let's Discord. Looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, there's probably hiding something about the launchpad 1 door. When we put the two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
Let me just quickly check on that. I've got no drop frames on my side. It might be YouTube side. Or yours. Well, there's only two ways he could have gone. The control room or the launch pad. Considering we're talking about the launch pad, I'm assuming he went this way because the door was broken or something. Oops.
Take that!
The culprit went through the Launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, no! A disaster to starboard! We're going to crash into an asteroid!
A master tactician you are not. But the area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. We can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door. We should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you?
That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge meaning. Or, in the boarding lounge. Meaning. There's a way he could have easily gone past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints in the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. If I remember correctly, it was Starbucks.
Take that!
That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. We haven't even finished doing like a psychological evaluation on him, and we're getting all this. Phoenix is the GOAT. Because Apollo would be like, we need more. Do it more. Break his brain, Athena. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet.
You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it?
Huh? Oh, yes, by all means.
There was a security camera in boarding lounge 1.
Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor?
If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic?
That's actually a good thought from the judge there. Granted, he doesn't know about it not working, but still. Right is the GOAT, which is why they keep bringing him back. Yeah. Proves my headcanon on Athena and Apollo. What's your headcanon? And to sell copies in the West. Yeah, yeah.
I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your boldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Oh my! The footage cuts off! The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged.
Makes sense, there was an explosion.
But most likely by the artifacts of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens.
And I thought it was such a good idea, too. You did good, Judge. You did good. I'll give you a pat on the back for that. You were good with that one.
Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, she is? Or they are? It doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa boldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know my grandchild? How did you know my grandchild?
I think his grandchild just learned a lesson, a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to make the witness continue. Or have the witness continue.
You will continue.
Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge?
If I must.
I hid to avoid getting shot. And now he's sad. He's just sad.
Got it!
We find the unexpected emotion. Why can't I skip this if it's the same one? Is there anything strange here? Made a mistake. I just did it because it's there. Could have vanished. I went into the lounge. Okay, this is slightly different. But that's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side door. And then the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped through the launch pad, right? Why are these so low? Like, you think he'd be more surprised and angry that he got shot at by a detective who's supposed to be, you know, protecting him. This makes sense. What I want to know is why he's sad here. Maybe he's just sad because the killer escaped? Or upset?
Got it! Got it!
Let me just do everything here. Just in case, because, you know, sometimes it's like, no, you need to do the angry one.
Got it! Got it!
Nothing. Okay, this isn't the one where I have to click on. So, back. I guess it would be because he's not surprised.
Got it!
Nah. Might as well.
Got it!
Is it because it's only surprise and not happy? No. Hired the killer to assassinate for copyright infringement.
Got it!
How is this a weird emotion? A person you didn't expect to be there showed up. That you would be surprised by that. What? Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Not really? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotion. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprises on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather that what you were surprised by. Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were... I don't know, this makes no sense! What? Not surprised by something else? Wasn't there something you should have been more surprised by? A brave man such as myself is not so easily surprised. But being shot at, now that would be surprise anyone. Well, when you put it that way, I guess I'm barking up the wrong tree here. Major Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise is that you were surprised twice. You were surprised when the detective found you, a self-styled great man. And then you were surprised again when she fired warning shots at you. Would such a self-professed great man such as yourself be surprised by such things? What? What? It
It is my duty to lead the human race into the future. In my life, it's put in danger. It is also my duty to be surprised and take precautions to save my life. If anything were to happen to me, what would become of the future of mankind?
Well, he certainly has a high opinion of himself. It looks like I got it wrong. In any case. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Ogg first shot at you. But the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by her simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. That is such a huge leap, Phoenix. Like, what the hell? We need to remember, this was just after a bombing occurred. He probably thought that she would still be helping the people escape and survive the freaking bombs. Not show up and then start shooting at him.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Your Desk. Ah!
Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. 30%. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that door. Whatever he's hiding must likely have something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we could spot some change between before he came into the room and after? Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken at the crime scene. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is the footage of the door before the director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Hey, look at that. There is a change. Something definitely is different. I didn't see it. But then again, I wasn't really looking. Director Cosmos.
What is it? What have you been up to over there?
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo we've taken during the investigation.
Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already.
Wait! He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident. Wait a minute. I just saw something. Launchpad 1. That does not say 1, that says 2. What? I guess I just clicked the door. Oops, wrong button.
Take that!
I believe the answer is this.
And how exactly did that change?
I'm just doing the door because
The show is like, the door is closed. And I'm like, okay, let's do that one.
such a futuristic being, it would be surprising if something like that could change. I think it'd be pretty surprising. I guess you're right.
After all this time, your claim is what's surprising to me, Mr. Wright. Penalty!
Director Space Case won't fess up to anything without proof of what he did in that room. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident.
Take that!
Nope. Hold on a minute. I wish it would show, like, the two images side by side so I can compare them. Yeah, it is up.
Take that!
I just saw your comment, Sean. Yes. Sorry. I just saw it. The answer is this knob.
That's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see. He puts his glasses on.
Take a look at the knob next to the launchpad door. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigate the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
And what does that mean?
It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. Ah! After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's see what you have to say. What were you doing, or were we trying to do, by turning the knob by the door? Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch pad site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what the knob's for. Oh, so if the killer escaped onto the Launchpad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the Launchpad to the launch site. I don't think so. The Launchpad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then, where did the killer escape to? Huh. I guess there's still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail. Fine, but listen carefully, for I am about to give a history-making testimony. Look at him, like, crouching down for that. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. I feared there might be more explosions. So I had to cut the launch pad loose. And now he's angry. Surely the only escape the killer had was through the launch pad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke. Confound it, where on earth could they have gone? Why would he be sad about it?
Got it!
I guess it's not an unexpected emotion. Review emotions, I can't skip this for some reason. There isn't anything strange here. See, this is the part where it starts to be very weird with its, like, emotion things.
Got it!
I mean, it is weird here as well, but, you know, I want to do my own thing. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so. And yet, when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself. How did you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So, care to explain when you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. How do you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. But you have no proof that I was a hidden ninja. I wasn't a ninja. And what if I did? I would never ever tell you, so there. I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such a great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence!
You, a man of integrity, don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You are not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Nor for the greatness, anyway, or not for the greatness. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar and honor. Liar! Oh? His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions? My, how naive you are. You failed to realize that even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. Yeah, get him, Phoenix. Here's a thought for you.
immediately following the bombing. Launchpad 1 was in the boarding lounge on one side. The police confirmed this on the scene.
What?
Liar!
So that means the director didn't move the launch pad?
Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar!
Objection!
But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once that safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of the issue, we might just... Oh, excuse me. We might just find where the killer escaped to.
You are sure it must have went somewhere? We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it truly is.
Again, Blackwell, we have proven you wrong multiple times by now. You need to get it through your head that not everything you think is true is true.
Or are you not man enough to, boy?
Ah! Talk about hidden below the bell. Young'uns these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute. Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be?
What are you blathering about?
What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. No! Oh, okay. It just fell back because he cut it off and then it came back. That's funny. You made him sigh like a Starbuck. Or Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that of base?
It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, a great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge where Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film.
Oh, right.
So to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy.
Ugh! Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. The launch pad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction of each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with the body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket. Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. You know, I'm so used to everything being on the opposite side. Now that I'm just realizing, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be standing here and she's supposed to be on this side. Like, she's supposed to be on the side where she's closer to the judge's bench. Like in the previous games, but they've swapped sides now. I just realized that. I don't know why. Huh? Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if, when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not the launch site, or from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then?
Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you.
It'd be funny if the dangling piece of hair turned grey when it got chopped. That would be weird.
Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once, or I will ban you from the court forever.
I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was... because he wanted to switch it with some other place.
I'm sorry, but what did you say? Switch it. But what could he possibly have switched the launch pad with? You've literally just showed what he could swap it with. Whoops. Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer comes clear as day. This is what we switched with Launchpad 1.
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It was all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean... The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Balderdash! And yet, it was the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. I see the Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places. That's right. And with the two switched, like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from the boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from the boarding lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, the door to the Space Museum from the boarding lounge 2. Welcome, welcome! This is not the voice, but the Space Museum is open to the public every day from here to 9 p.m. to 7 p.m. Exactly. Anyone could have passed through the door to the Space Museum. There is no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, the two launch pads switched like that. Someone other than Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. Grrr! After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell had Mr. Starbuck, and the director we all saw a suspicious figure, who we can suppose, after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the launch pads back, without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. Whee! The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Ah! Right, Donald, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Swordmaster Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who's cut down many a prosecutor, and they're much more worse than you. I know how to protect myself from a whip.
Silence!
But unless you can prove the theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. That's right, you have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs a better anger management counselor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, the Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Yeah, too bad we can't prove it. Let's see. This is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. There's number 1. Do you see anything different when you compare it to the security footage? Well, this was all exploded. This was all exploded and has a robot. The other one did. Huh? That number on the floor. Wow, they just come out and say it. I don't think they did that before. Well, what do you know? Looks like we have a proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. A boneless sword? And if this is just another bluff. Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in his footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well, let's answer this for me, if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to the Space Museum?
Take that!
There's a number 1 on the floor in the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? It doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you see is actually part of a 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. So that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1, on the side opposite the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is all cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying the Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level. Just incredible. Those 2 launch pads were actually switched. But you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone would have known that what was happening on the surface. 0%. Gaxa Museum. Woo, bye-bye. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. The dramatic turn. Oh, my honor, my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultimate weapon. Galactic engine ignition. What? It's gone haywire. It won't stop. My stars, my glory. No, not that way. He's gone. That was the best. Bailiff, on your steed and after the witness. Steed? I'd have to say it's probably one of the best ones out there so far. He looks so old now. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched Launchpad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to have words, I believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with the Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put such on a dramatic display? As to my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. They're doing this again. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast. The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason of not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try and pry it out of him, though. Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. Everyone feels bad for him now. He's just like, yeah, okay, I'll allow you to get your stars. Help the man. And he's back to normal. It appears the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you'd wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it? What did you get? Director, why would you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch pad to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck. Starbuck, my boy. I'm sorry, I can't tell you the reason why, but I had to do it to protect the space center.
Director, will I ever get the chance to go into space again?
Yes, of course, I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy.
Then the dream, it's still alive.
Objection.
Silence.
Oh, okay, that works too.
You're not going into space, Starbuck, but to prison. I won't have it any other way.
Why are you so hung up on it?
Yes, I accept the launch pads really were switched. And if there were a third person at the scene, I would suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, he's right. I don't have any proof.
Starbuck, you will spill everything you know.
What? Me?
Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood.
If I'm gonna die, I want to die in space. I have to do something.
Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself.
I was kind of expecting that.
Now, you know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell.
I can kind of expect it's Fulbright.
That annoyingly cheerful laugh. Can't be more none other than champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust.
Detective Fulbright?
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late.
I don't believe we had an appointment.
I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady cross the street. And then I had to break up a catfight. I tell you, justice juror is a full-time job.
What is the fight between cats or... Why are you here again?
Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. Ugh, dang hiccups, go away. Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get out my chest. I'm gonna work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. I didn't think he was serious, though. So, what is it, Detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent?
It is indeed. Have a look at this.
What's this? A lighter?
That's right. A lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. This Space Museum's cleaning robots picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it.
What?
Ugh. Order. Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent.
This is it. This is just what I needed. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
How do I need to explain myself? Different fingerprints mean different person. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall what this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer was murdered, Mr. Terran, they escaped with the lighter in hand to the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred.
Then finally, the killer left through the boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence!
But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could it have not dropped the lighter in the space received during that span of time? Yes, with the fingerprints that are not his on him. Right. Why are we even debating this, Black Will?
Objection!
You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? But Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with a ladder, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had the time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this ladder could have only been dropped by the real killer. Ugh. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this ladder. I think you'd understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. I can't do his growling voice for long words. I have to do it short. This does appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claim. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence!
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. He has something on you now, does he? You've used this tactic against other people. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. Hurt yourself doing the... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, doing his voice normally when I just speak the words is fine. When they do, like, long, like, "Gah!" things like that, I can't do it because it's hard to do. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty. I win! Also, what are we supposed to investigate? We've done our job. Yes, we did it, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it off somehow, huh? Some help to Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. Y'all are the best. Ooh, I wish I could tell Apollo about what Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too. That's gonna have to wait. Now that the verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned. Objection. Hold it.
Objection!
Oh, I was right. It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? You're right. What were the results of the fingerprint analysis on the lighter? Huh? The results? Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was this cat fight, and, well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck's, so... My brain just suddenly stopped. I was like, I couldn't read for a second. I don't know what happened there. I just went, I don't know why I'm having trouble right now. You have... for some reason, I'm stuck in the Fulbright voice. Get out of the Fulbright voice. You have it. Yet to read it. Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes. So says the report.
What? What? Huh? Me?
Order, I say, order. Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. We just finished proving that this ladder could only belong to the killer. So finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion, which makes no sense because you were with everyone else at the time.
I don't know how it got in there, but I know I'm not the culprit.
Whoever did it is a son of a bitch! I'm gonna kill them! You just implicated yourself there.
Oh. Whoops. This can't be happening. We built our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty. So how could it have led to this? Later updated in the court record. It has Athena's prints on it in the victim's blood.
Ah! What have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Order, order. Detective Fulbright, stop your crying.
What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Again.
Order, order. I will have order.
And there was no order. The court erupted into flames as the crowd went wild. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of crimes. Somehow, somewhere, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. That is a cool way to end that with that kind of saying. Jeez. Sad. Emo. Happy. Aha! Space. Ooh. That was a good one. That is a good cliffhanger. It is. I will say, like, with the new writers they got for this game, there are times where they're really good, and then there are times where they're really bad. Unfortunately, a lot of that is in this case where it's not that great. But that cliffhanger was, I'll give it to them. That was good. I've already saved, but I'm saving again. There's no preview. I mean, I would kind of guess so. Because it's literally just the continuation of this case from what I can understand. But this is a good place to stop. It was a nice cliffhanger, and now we got to figure out what happened next time. So let us return to the game's menu. Who knew that Athena was a murderer all along? I knew that intro was too lighthearted to be true. Turns out she's basically Kira from Death Note, and no one knew. That's how I describe Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice. It has good points and it's bad points. Yeah, because it's like the original trilogy, for the most part, had mostly good points. There were a few times where it was like kind of but most of the time it was all just a great ride. Apollo Justice has more bad points than good points, but it sort of like equals out nearly. This one has more bad points than good points, but it's still like the good points hit when they do. But you meant Yoshikage Kira. Isn't that the same person? Or am I thinking the wrong thing? The guy from Death Note. I know what I meant. Anyway, that's where we'll end it for today. We shall pick this up next time where we can find out if Athena actually did kill someone. Whether she's got like a secret personality, even she doesn't know about that, goes around killing people. And all the crimes that we were trying to investigate were actually all because of her. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, not that one. Not that guy. Yeah, we shall pick this up next week. Apollo Justice is more leveled out compared to DD and Spirit of Justice, where it goes up and down. Yeah, exactly, Sean. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, we shall pick this up next week. Tomorrow, I am continuing Halo 4. I did try it out yesterday. It's not good, story-wise, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's not like god-awful. But then again, I've only just started playing it, so maybe it will be awful the next time I stream it, so I'll see. But yeah, as I was saying, that's it all for today. So I hope you all enjoyed. As usual, like, follow, subscribe, bell notifications to know when our next stream, and there's also links to Patreon tips in the description as well. If you do become a patron, you get your name added to the patron list here, where I give you a shout out at the end of every stream, like I do with Hiro Kuni and the Swordmaster 37. And I thank you for the continued support. And I greatly appreciate you. And I found out one of you killed someone, and now I have to try and find out if you really did or not. So, yeah. Right, the pessimist. What do you mean by that? What pessimist about what? I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist, or an optimistic realist, or whatever. I don't know. I'm making up words now. Yeah, that's a great place to stop. So thank you all for joining. I'll see you all either tomorrow or next week. And until then, you all take care. Have a nice rest of the day. And yeah, until next time. Bye, everyone. Bye, Sean. Bye, Rafatron. Thanks for joining. It's a lot of fun when you guys are here. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.